Alright, so I'm going to show you how to install ZEdit for ZMerge. ZEdit can be found at github.com/z-edit/ZEdit. What this tool does is it merges plugins so that if you go over the normal 255 plugin limit of Bethesda games, and you cannot convert them to ESL files, or you do not wish to convert them to ESL files for whatever reason, you can use this. You will want the most recent version, and you will want to download it to a tools folder. There's another tool that you will also need for merging plugins, and that is the CK or Creation Kit. It can be found by going to Bethesda.net, and when it loads, you can click the hamburger right here on the top left, and the big download button at the bottom for the Bethesda launcher. And then click download for free. I'm just going to download this normally because it will install to the program files directory. You're going to have to install it. I recommend just leaving it in the normal directory, and you don't need a desktop shortcut. If you like to have one, then you can leave it and just let it install. It's only 33 megabytes. Once the Bethesda launcher has finished installing, you will have to log in. If you don't already have an account, then you will have to create an account. I will not go over that process. It's just like any other process. Let's see if I can remember my password. Alright, and now that it has completed installation, you can go ahead and click on that double arrow on the top left, go to the drop down, click Tools, and select Creation Kit Skyrim. Install this. Go ahead and read this agreement. I've already read it once. Accept it, and click Accept. It will automatically install to your game directory. Leave it in that directory. If you move it, then it may cause problems for the creation kit, so just hit install. Once it has completed, go into your game directory and in the data folder you will find a scripts.zip file. Extract this to scripts. Now that that is done, so now that you have the tools, I'm going to show you how to properly merge the mods. So I've got a series of all of the mods by Mihail Mods. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, as well as a few NPC mods, including the Bigen series. So now I'm going to add the tools that we are needing. Click on the big Add Tool button, click New, click the folder icon, go to Tools. I did not already extract this, so let's extract ZEdit here. Double click to open it. Wait for it to extract the executable. And once it has, double click to select. It should automatically pull the name. And I do not know of any command line parameters necessary for ZMerge. So I'm just going to save it. I'm then going to add another tool. This one will be in the data folder. So let's go into here. Actually, no, it will not be in the data folder. I'm going to add another tool. This one will be in the Tools folder in your Skyrim Special Edition. It will be archive, archive.exe, and do not set any parameters for that. The next tool that I will add is the creation kit itself. This will be up a level and called creationkit.exe. There is one more thing that you will need in order to work Creation Kit, and that will be Creation Kit Fixes. It will be at 20061 on Skyrim Special Edition mods. Go ahead and download both files. I'm going to install them via Vortex. So I'm going to download them to their proper directory, to the Vortex download directory. Then I will go to Mod, go to Uninstalled, and disable both of these. So that in this way, I will be able to switch their mod type. The next thing that you will need is CK multiple master fixes. It will be at nexusmods.com/Skyrim Special Edition /mods/2786. This will fix a very annoying bug that Creation Kit has when it is installed. First, I'm going to go into the folder and file and confirm that it is on the right line. It is not. So I'm just going to drag it up once and delete the empty folder. Then I will confirm that this is in the right section, which it already is. And let's confirm that this is in the right section. It also is. So all three of these will need their mod type changed from default to E and B. Once that has been done, go ahead and enable all three. and let it deploy. Now those files have been correctly deployed, and you should be able to find that they have properly changed here, as evidenced by the date and the README. That tool has been updated. Now, before we do this, make sure to always clean your plugins. There are certain plugins that you don't need to clean, and usually they will be marked on their web page on Nexus or wherever they are hosted as do not clean. However, to confirm that in Vortex, according to Loot Rules, you can click the drop down below Flags on the Plugins tab and select Don't Clean, and it will show only plugins that have the Don't Clean flag. All other plugins are safe to clean. Now, to make this a little bit simpler, I'm going to go ahead and add the command line parameter dash quick auto clean and hit save. With this parameter, a plugin will be cleaned automatically and saved when you use it. So just double click the mod, it will load up, and it will clean. I'm going to go ahead and clean all of these and show you what happens next. Alright, so all of my plugins have now been cleaned. So the next thing you are going to do is run zedit. Alright, so the next portion of this is a little bit more annoying for everybody involved. So you're going to want to figure out which plugins are encoded properly. The simplest way to do that, as I have found, is to open up rybash and look at the pop-up window. It says older plugin record version. Then once you have done that, you have to open up the creation kit. And each plugin that is listed here, you have to open that plugin by itself, set it as the active plugin, and save it. Alright, so once you've loaded up the creation kit, you go to File, Data, find the plugin that you want. So, for example, I'm going to go ahead and edit, let's just say Slenderman file. You double click it and click Set as Active File. Then click OK. Wait for it to load. During the loading process, if you did not get the 3 creation kit files that I told you to get, then you will have various pop-ups that you can click through, and I would recommend simply clicking Yes to All. Once the background loader has finished, you can go ahead and click Save. And now you are done. You can then close the window, and then do it again for every plugin that is listed as a older plugin record version. This means if you get all of your mods from the SSE Nexus and none of them from the SLE Nexus or other websites, they should generally be good to use. I have taken the liberty to sort all my mods using the highlight function. In order to do a highlight, click on the gear icon in the right section of mods, check highlight, and then click the highlight icon, which will default to an eye. Once you do that, you can click a color as well as an icon. Once I have done that, I went into plugins and set up a few groups. Groups can be created by right-clicking, clicking add group, changing the name to whatever, and then once you do that, you will need to give it a place to go. You can do that by holding Control and clicking in the center of a group that already exists, dragging it to that, and then in order to make it so that it doesn't just load any time after that group, find another group that you, let's say after default, but before low overrides, and that will set it to after default, before low overrides, somewhere with core mods. I have set them all of my merges up to be after late loaders and before leveled lists. You'll notice that this looks a bit funky, and that is because I have set all my groups to load in a line, starting from ESO merge 2 all the way through NPC merge. And if you mess up and add a group you don't want, you can right click on that group and click remove. If you add a line you don't want, right click on the line and click remove. In order to assign this to a plugin, you can double click a plugin and go to group and click your new group. If you want to assign multiple, control click or shift click will work. And then assign a group. Once you have done this, go ahead and launch ZMerge. Once ZMerge has finished loading up, click on the drop down and click ZMerge. Click Start Session. Go to the gear icon, and I'm going to change the application thing to night. You don't have to do that. That is entirely up to you. I'm going to change integration settings, mod manager to Vortex. This is something you will need to do. Click mod manager path and locate the manager. This will be probably under C, your user, app data, roaming, Vortex, and select that folder. Next is the mod manager mods path. This will be along the same path, however, a little bit deeper. Go to the game, mods, and select folder. Then you will also need merge settings. The merge output by default is in the tools or in the ZEdit folder. You do not want that there usually. Instead, set that to the same location as your mods path. Select folder. Click OK. Now create the merge. So this should be relatively easy if you set this up correctly. Just go to plugins, and where you have your groups, go ahead and name it whatever. So let's name this one NPC. Go to the plugins tab and select your plugins. So my MPC merge will include all of these, from 3D MPC to Vision. Go ahead and click check. An alternative is to shift click from the start to the end, right click, and toggle selected, or check selected. Once you have done that, go to the Data tab. Once the Data tab is loaded, you will find the plugin data folders. This should point to where you installed the mods. If you have a patch mod that replaces the ESP, then you may want to point this folder to the source mod and not the patch. I do not, so I will not need to do that. Once you have confirmed that, go to Bethesda Archives. You have three options. You can extract, copy, or ignore. I prefer extract because in this way it will copy the contents of the archive into the resulting merge. Copy will copy the contents to a BSA, and ignore will ignore the BSA files. Ignoring will cause problems if you need to load those assets. So, set it to extract. MPC FaceGen data. Your mods should have FaceGen data. However, if they don't for some reason, then you need to regenerate that FaceGen data. I will show you how towards the end of the video. The next three parts are voice data. Voice data should be handled. Other than that, I don't know how to handle it. Script fragments can be handled. And general assets is the last part. If you do not copy general assets, then the asset files such as DDS files and NIF files will not be copied. And when doing that, you will need to leave the plugin disabled and the mod enabled. So, I recommend copying general assets and hitting OK. Once you have done this, you can go ahead and build the merge or create a new merge. Once you have finished setting up your merges, you can go ahead and click the Build Merges button and it will build your merges for you. This may take a while, depending on the size of the merges. Once you have finished creating the merges, you will need to restart Vortex. There is no current way to refresh your full mod list, only your downloads list. Once you've done that, you should be able to go to your mods list and check it. You'll probably find you've got new folders. I did accidentally duplicate my NPCs merge. Once you have done that, go ahead and do what I did, which is create a new profile, name it whatever, and switch to it. Once you've switched to the new profile, go ahead and enable the new merges. I accidentally duplicated a merge, and so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. If you have multiple merges, as I do, you'll notice that they conflict with each other. This is not a bug, and it's not something that is very simply taken care of. Unfortunately, is if the only files that conflict are these three, fidcache, map, and merge, then you can go ahead and set rules, whether they're load before or load after. It does not matter, so long as it's consistent. You may come across a few that are more than just those three files. Then you will have to decide which of your merges you want to load last. So this is done based off of the English language in most Western languages. Top left, bottom right. So the top, Witcher, is the name of this merge. Morrowind is the name of the merge that it's conflicting with. Go ahead and change the no rule to load after, load before, given what you want. So if you want one merge to load after another mod, in which case it will overwrite the other mod, click load after. If you want the second mod to overwrite it, click load before. So in this case, these files are the same. It's just that they are in more than one of Mihail's mods. So I'm going to select it as load before to keep this consistent. I will do the same with this mod. When you go to the next mod, you will notice there is an I on the right. This is to show this mod and this mod already have a rule set. So Witcher is set to load before reptile. Simple as that. There is no reason to set a rule here, nor is there any reason not to set a rule here. It's up to you. I have found that setting the rule on both sides is a little bit more simple, because when I have to go back and check which loads where, I only have to check in one place, not both. Once you've set all of your conflicts properly, you're going to need to go ahead and hit the deploy button up in the top right. You can also hit the deploy button in the top left if you so choose. Either one will work. Upon deploy, you can go ahead and play your game. However, while playing your game, you may come across a bug, and that is the black, brown, or gray face bug. And so this brings me to the last part of the video. So we are nearing the end of creating merges. And there's one thing that you may need to do. Most of the time you won't need to do this, however, you might find a need to. And that is fix the faces on the NPCs. So the way that I'm going to go about this is load up an SSE edit all my merges. And there it is. So if you open up the plugin, you will find the non-player character actor section with the editor IDs. Unfortunately, there's no quick way to fix all of your NPCs with weird faces by default. So the way I'm going to go about it is right click on it, apply script, add prefix or suffix to editor ID. Click OK to that. I'm going to prepend, or add it to the front, NPC. Okay. And then I'm going to do something similar to each of these. This one will get wit. Now they're all done. Let's go ahead and save them. At least I'm going to disable all except for one. Let's go ahead and disable. Wait for it to process. This shouldn't take too long. As you can see here, Vortex is wondering about your changes. You're going to want to go ahead and confirm all those changes. We've got the first one. So, you're going to want to go ahead and open up your data folder. In your meshes, you'll find a bunch of random files that don't really matter too much right now. So in order to get rid of those, we're going to purge, and then once that's done, we are going to deploy again. In order to purge, you will need to have gone into settings and enabled advanced mode. Now that's done purging, you can look in your data folder and you're probably not going to see anywhere near as many files. If you want, you can go ahead and delete the backup files that you probably have, Z-edit backups, SC-edit backups, and all that stuff. But there's no reason to right now. Instead, you're going to go ahead and deploy again. This shouldn't take too long. Once deployed, go into the meshes folder, under actors, character, if you don't see a FaceGen data folder, then you will probably have a problem. So let's go ahead and open up the creation kit. Let's load that plugin that we left enabled as the active file. Once you've got Creation Kit loaded up, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that you're at the top of this and click Actor. Once you've done that, figure out what prefix you set. For example, mine was WIT. And select all of ones with that prefix. Type on your keyboard Control and F4. It will request whether it should export the FaceGen data or not, and tell it yes. This may take a long time. It may take a short time. It depends on your computer speed, how many NPCs you are generating, and whether or not the creation kit likes you very much. While that is working, you can go back to the mods pane in Vortex. Go ahead and right click on the mod that you're working with right now. Open it in File Manager. and move it off to the side. At the same time, go to your game's data folder, wherever that may be. Go to Meshes, Actors, Character, Face Gen Data, Face Geometry. This is where the files will be exported to as the game generates them. You can go to the same location in the mod that you have selected. If it doesn't have it, then go ahead and create. If it doesn't have it, then you can ignore it for now and wait for Creation Kit to finish. Once Creation Kit is done, go ahead and close it. In your Meshes folder, you'll need a folder called Actors. Go into it. Then you'll need a folder called Character. Within that folder, you can go ahead and cut the FaceGen data folder with Control X and paste into the new character folder in your mod with Control V. Within that folder, you should be able to find all the freshly generated NIF files. And now that you've done that, go back to Vortex, disable it, and enable the next one. Your mods will no longer have a BSA archive if they did before. For Skyrim Special Edition, at the very least, there is a minor performance increase allocated to BSA archives. In Skyrim Legendary Edition, there is no performance increase, but no performance decrease that I know of. So, in order to clean up your folder, remove your textures folders and your meshes folders from these mods, you can go ahead and create an archive. You can also put sound and SEQ files, sound and scripts into said archives, but I'm not going to, simply because and to do this, you need to go ahead and find the mods folder, which can be found by right-clicking on the mod, and clicking Open in File Manager. Then once you're there, open up Archive tool, select in the top the full link to the archive, copy it, paste it into root directory, check meshes, textures, embed file names, retain strings, retain file names, retain file name offsets, directory names, and compress archive. If your total is under 4 gigabytes, then it will create an adequate archive. So just drag the folders you want in. If you are using scripts, then check MISC. If you are if you are creating an archive for sounds, check sounds, voices, shaders. I don't know of any files that would go in there. Menus will be Swift files or interface folder. And Once you've done that, go to File, Save. It'll pop up. Go back to that folder again. It can be done simply by typing it up there. And name it the same as your merge. This will take a few seconds depending on your archive size. But then once it's done, go ahead and close it. You'll now have a BSA file, a BSL file, and your ESP. Delete the folders that you put into the archive. Next, you will want to go to Mods and click Deploy. Once this is done, you'll notice a lot of source files were deleted. If your BSA archives are done correctly and they are not over 2 gigabytes, then you can go ahead and save the changes. If they are over 2 gigabytes, then for that mod, you can click on drop down and click Revert Change. I'm just going to confirm it.